Welcome to another episode of the House Husband Diaries. As always, I am your host, Carter. See ya. All right, let's see. Needed to get situated, and let's do this. Let us do this today. You know what we're talking about today? Of course you don't. Actually, you probably do because I'm going to name. It'll have a title. The video will have a title. So, there goes that surprise. So sorry, everyone. I know you were just on pins and needles wondering what the house husband was going to talk about in his diary today. Well, fret no more. I couldn't think of a good word. I'm talking about the Carolina Panthers rebuilding 5-year plan to get us to a Super Bowl, but get us, more importantly, over the hump of not just getting to the Super Bowl, but winning the Super Bowl. This is my plan. I've not talked to the GM, to the owner. Nobody in the Panthers organization has contacted me. Just putting that out there. Little disclaimer. Just what I would do. Number one. Well, so let me back up, too. This is going to air in like a week or so. And it just came out a few days ago that the Panthers hired the rule guy from Baylor. And I don't know anything about him other than he rebuilt Temple, he rebuilt Baylor, and so there's a good option. As far as somebody that has experience in taking several years to rebuild a program, at least at the collegiate level. So how that translates to working with a GM and in the pro game is yet to be seen. But they gave him a long contract, 6-year contract. I like it. The guy's set for life. With $60 million, maybe it was 6 years, maybe it was 7, I don't remember. It was a long number of years, a lot of years for a contract for a new coach. And then yesterday, Luke Kuechly came out and said he was retiring, completely unexpectedly. So in some ways, I'm glad I waited to record this episode because when I first planned to do this episode, it was before the Panthers had hired the coach. I was going to talk about who they should hire as a coach and what they should do roster-wise over the next 5 years. So the coach is already out of the equation. It doesn't matter what I thought, what I'm thinking. I don't really know enough about the young guns that they're bringing in. The Brady guy from LSU being the offensive coordinator. I think they're going to have the defensive coordinator be the same guy that was at Temple and Baylor, which is fine. I think the coaching staff is less important than the players that you get. I mean, you've got a situation right now where you've got the old face of the franchise, Cam Newton. What are you going to do with him? You've got the new face of the franchise. Well, let me back up. Offensive face of the franchise. Luke Kuechly is also a face of the franchise, but he was on the defensive side. And so you had a new up-and-coming face of the offense with Christian McCaffery, and especially with Newton not playing as well, Newton being injured. So you were fine to let Cam Newton go and just cut ties with him, not pay him this last year of the contract, 19 or 20 million. Just save that money and be done with it. Because you had a face to the franchise on the offense. Christian McCaffrey's awesome, great, and then lo and behold, now you don't have a face for your defense. So it's definitely full rebuild mode. It was kind of a question or a debate whether or not you bring Newton back. You don't need to bring Newton back. Save your money, clear your cap space. You're going to save, I think it's like 12 or 13 million on Luke Kuechly's contract now. You weren't expecting. I think most people would rather have Luke Kuechly back than save 10 or 12 million on the cap. But you've got even more cap space. Don't spend it on Newton. Don't care. You've got 2 quarterbacks. They're not great, but you know what? You can put yourself this year or 2021. You can put yourself in a position to draft the quarterback of your dreams if you believe that quarterback is still in college. And one of the interesting things about Brady from LSU and the Rule guy from Baylor is they have been recruiting across college or across high schools for college players. So they're going to know the college players and the quarterbacks coming up So either they'll identify some good quarterbacks to get in this year's draft, which I would say don't do, unless you really like one in like the 5th round and you think he's going to be the next Tom Brady. I wouldn't waste a top draft pick because you've got too many holes to fill. I'll get to that in a second. But then what I would do is be prepared if they have somebody coming out in 2 or 3 years because they've recruited them. Trevor Lawrence coming out next year from Clemson is a top pick. But even if you wanted to spend 2 years rebuilding, and Sam Howell from UNC, I know I'm a North Carolina guy. I went to UNC. I'm an NC homer. But that guy just set the freshman record for Division I football, true freshman for most touchdowns on a North Carolina team that won like 1 or 2 or 3 games last year. And they went to a bowl game and won a bowl game. I mean, that guy, if you're talking about rebuilding, you should probably put yourself in position to get him in 2 years when he finishes his junior year. If you think he's a winner, to get all your other pieces in place. You have 2 years to get your other pieces in place. So with that being said, your number one priority this offseason is protecting Run CMC at all costs. Your number one job is to protect Christian McCaffery. Invest in the offensive line. Invest in a tight end. Don't worry about the quarterback. Don't worry about trying to win games. Worry about protecting Christian McCaffery as he is going to run the ball and catch the ball so much over the next year and the next 2 years. Because really, there's no way you're going to get yourself in position to win a Super Bowl in 2 years. Maybe in year 3 and 4. Year 3 is probably pushing it. Year 4, I think it could be done, and definitely by year 5 in a 5-year plan. So that's the deal, right? So you don't want to take your best offensive player and have him just run the ball 400 times or 300 times a year for the next 2 years, catch 100 passes, and just get tackled 1,000,000 times. And then by the time you have your pieces in place in 3 or 4 years, your running back's no good anymore because you ran him into the ground trying to win some games that you didn't really need to win. So protect Christian McCaffery at all costs. Invest in the offensive line and invest in some good tight ends. And just don't worry about the quarterback. And then work on the defense. So here's the deal. What I would say is also structure those contracts with offensive linemen or with other people, potential veterans. Front load those contracts. Front load those contracts so that they're getting paid, and you still give yourself cap flexibility in years 2 and 3 and 4, because that's where you're going to have the skill players hopefully available and already there, and you're going to need to pay up some people to keep that core together. And if you can front load some now, you would keep people on at lower prices and then, at a lower salary. And then if you backload other contracts, yin and yang, vice versa. That's what I'm talking about. Keep that financial cap space, that flexibility going. And then in the 2020 draft, I know your top 10 draft, we'll just see who's available. But if it's not somebody that really can protect, that you trust protecting Christian McCaffery, that you think is really going to be a difference maker along the offense or defensive line, trade down. Just collect assets for the next year or two. There's no rush right now on trying to find a difference maker to try to get you to 7 or 8 wins, or keep you in that 6-7 win range. Like there's no point in that. So get somebody that's going to plug a hole, good defensive tackle, a good offensive lineman, a guard, a center, something that is really, a tackle, and just build from the inside out. That is old school mindset. But at this point, it is imperative to protect Christian McCaffery and to put the pieces in place now so that when you get the right skill people, the right quarterback in a year or two, I would say, in 2 years, not next year, but maybe we have the number 1 pick and Trevor Lawrence is the guy next year for the number 1 pick. Who knows? And so put the other pieces in place now so that when you draft your franchise quarterback in 2021 or 2022 and you get a few other pieces, maybe a few good free agent signings because you have cap flexibility, you're in position to really multiply what you've done and the assets that you still have. You still have some the framework of a good team. But I would take this opportunity to build around the quarterback position and around Christian McCaffery, and then put in the quarterback in a year or two when you've invested in those other areas of the team. That's my 5-year plan for getting the Panthers a Super Bowl championship. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. The House Husband's Diaries is out.